Never in a million years did I think I'd be one of those guys just sitting in front of a camera talking about anything, and well, here we are. Since this topic has been requested so much recently from basically anyone I talk to in the manga collecting community, I figured now is the time, and doing it over video is by far the easiest way to do it. When I started building this manga collection, I believe late July or early August of last year, I pretty much had no idea what I was doing and started off quite slow, but eventually I learned a few tricks that really started to snowball this collection to the size it is today. The whole idea of this video started floating around a few months ago, and when I began talking to friends about the kind of hauls I was bringing in and giving them updates on how big the collection had become, I would always get asked, well, like, what were you doing that got it so big so fast? Since I was kind of new to this and was enjoying collecting so much that I started getting a little bit paranoid about giving away all my strategies. So I ended up keeping my lips sealed, aside from a few small hints or suggestions, especially to friends that lived in my area. As time went on, I learned more and more tricks to the point where when I did start helping my friends out and giving them more info, just texting or typing it out became pretty exhaustive pretty quick. It wasn't until the other day when I posted the update of my collection on both Reddit and Twitter that I got an overwhelming response from friends and well as other fellow collectors just wanting to know exactly what I was doing just to build this collection so fast. At this point, I don't think it's fair to keep all this information and knowledge to myself when I know this could actually help out a lot of people wanting to do what I did. Well, since I'm the kind of person that strives to live up to the promises, I can't back out now on everybody. So are you ready to find out what my big secret is? My biggest secret to growing your manga collection is using the absolutely insane levels of value you can find through secondhand sales. All right. Bear with me here. No, not you. Wrong kind of bear. Although you are actually pretty good. It's not time to make your appearance yet. And definitely not you. I know, it's not the sexiest answer possible, but if there's one thing I learned in building this collection, it's that having an open mind is super important. If you follow along with this little story of mine, I'll prove to you how valuable it is. Promise I'll be worth your while. My first experience with manga collecting wasn't until sometime summer of 2019. One day I was just scrolling through Facebook and saw that a comic shop was holding what was basically a flea market that was inside a hotel's event hall. So, out of curiosity, my kid and I just decided to make a day out of it and checked it out. I ended up grabbing the first three volumes of Nisekoi because a friend had recently been talking to me about it, and they said that they really enjoyed it. So I figured I'd give it a read before I watched the series myself. Fast forward to the summer of 2020, and I still had only bought maybe a dozen or so more volumes. One day, my daughter came up to me and said she thought it would be cool if we could just build ourselves a library of our own. Not gonna lie, that was probably one of the coolest things I've ever heard come out of anyone's mouth, let alone kids. So by our powers combined, we began building this collection. And within a few trips to bookstores, my wallet started to really feel the consequences and kind of forced us to take a little break. So I tried checking every website possible to see who had deals, but that was pretty unsuccessful since many either weren't shipping to Canada at the time or the higher shipping costs canceled out any deal I was getting. That was when something finally clicked. If deals in stores or online weren't a common thing or weren't viable, I should just look around in my area and see if people were selling any of their volumes or even collections. Oh boy, did that ever pay off in a massive way, because that is the result of it, and that is all since late July, early August. So maybe like 11 months ago, almost 12, almost a full year now. But as of the recording of this video, I'm currently at 1,473 volumes, which is a lot. That's roughly 134 volumes per month. And if I was to, buy that at retail prices, that would be slightly more than $2,000 Canadian a month, or in total, like $22,000. In reality, all this cost maybe a quarter of that. Now, I want to put this out there as a bit of a disclaimer. I'm not actually exaggerating any of this at all. And I'm not sharing this information just to brag or clout chase. I'm simply sharing that information to show you that if I, a single father with a child, to raise and provide for, can do this, then, well, anyone pretty much can too. All right, let's not waste any more time. Let's get to why you started watching this video in the first place. Here they are, my 3 methods for building your collection and how you too can become a Tsundoku, just like me. The first successful method I'm going to share with you all is the thrift store method, and it's exactly how it sounds. This means checking out places like Goodwill, Value Village, Salvation Army, etc. You know your areas better than I do, so if you know of any thrift stores in your areas, I'd suggest checking those out. Ask any thrifter, and they'll tell you that thrifting can sometimes be like digging for gold. And in my own experience, some of the biggest deals I've found have come from places like these. Generally speaking, prices on books at thrift stores are wildly inconsistent, but for the most part, at least up here in Canada, you can find manga for under $5 a volume, and in some places for as low as $1.50. That's not even including the discounts you can get for buying bulk. You know, like buy 4, get the 5th free, kind of stuff like that. The one catch with thrift stores is that while the prices are low, the quantity of manga can be very limited. Notice how I said quantity and not quality? I know there's a sort of preconception when it comes to thrift stores that items there are used and might not be in the greatest condition. I came into this with the same naive expectation that I would only be able to find books with wear, tear, or just outright damage. I realized pretty quickly that this is pretty far from the truth, as I've found many books in absolutely pristine condition, and there's actually good reason why. Anyone who collects manga, even casual readers, just tend to take quite good care of their books. I know I do, and I'm pretty sure most, if not all of you do too. Now, don't expect to find them all wrapped and sealed, but for the most part, I'm just talking like minimal yellowing of the pages and maybe even some barely visible scratches on, like, you know, the glossier covers. Obviously, not all of them can be in perfect condition, but even those with a little wear and tear can have some value in your collection as, like, temporary placeholders. Now, back to what I was saying about quantity. I have a weekly routine right now where I go to about 5 or 6 thrift stores in my area, and I've found absolutely nothing. Then there are those times where I've literally struck gold, and here are some examples. Head-Eyed Boy here is one I nearly missed hiding in a shelf, but luckily I did end up finding it, because it turns out that this series is incredibly rare and it was printed for a very brief run. The author Kazuo Umezu is credited as being one of the inspirations for Junji Ito and his style of horror manga. Like, single volumes of this series have sold for in the triple digits. This was $2.50. This one here is Volume 1 of Pluto. It is a 50th anniversary adaptation of Osamu Tezuka's famous series Astro Boy. Like, these volumes can fetch anywhere between like $50 to $100. It honestly depends on the market though. But again, this one was also $2.50. Next up is where this gets really interesting. Lesson 2, the buy and sell method. The next method I found was through buy and sell websites like Kijiji up here in Canada and other buy and sell websites like Craigslist. This one was probably the most obvious, to the point where I just couldn't believe it took me that long to figure it out. I recently told one of my friends who lives across the country about this method, and they're just as surprised, but still doubted it. So I proved it to them by showing them the listings in my area, and then I showed them the listings that are posted in their area. And that is when both of our jaws just dropped to the floor. There were quite literally a few hundred listings. And do you want to know why that is? Well, actually, there are many reasons, but I found 2 common ones just from talking to sellers. The first are the kinds of listings saying, manga collection for sale, moving, so everything must go. 99 times out of 100, if you see a listing like that, I can guarantee that you'll be getting the best possible deals, because in my experience as both a buyer and as someone that's had to move around boxes and boxes of books with a bad back, it's not fun. I found in cases like these, people would usually just rather let them go for basically nothing than to just either wait around for them to sell or load them up and take them with them. And when I said nothing, I quite literally mean like almost nothing. I'm talking like sometimes $1 a book or less. The other and even more common kind of listing that you'll see are typically ones where like a casual reader bought a few of them, and then maybe even got them as a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. So then they read them, and now that they're done with them, they just no longer have a need for them. So they'd rather get rid of them and get a little money back, kind of thing, right? As for what prices to look for in the buy and sell market, there's like the unofficial rule among collectors and resellers is that manga tends to lose anywhere between 30% to 50% of their retail value, like literally the second they leave the store. But of course, that depends on the popularity, rarity of the series, is it out of print, so on and so forth. When looking through buy and sell sites, there will obviously be people still looking to sell at the retail price because that's what it says on the back of the book. So they're trying to get their full money back. But and as sellers, they have every right to do so. It's just that even keeping an eye on those listings can still be worthwhile if you're patient enough and check often enough. I've seen many of those retail price listings drop by up to like 50% after a few weeks of going unsold. So it does pay to be a little bit patient. Now, speaking of patience paying off, this next method has results that can put like the first two to shame and have personally given me the best results as a manga collector. Lesson 3, the social media method. You'd think with how much I hyped up how insane the deals can possibly be on sites like Kijiji, Craigslist, and whatnot, you thought it couldn't get any better than that, could you? The truth is, none of them can even hold a candle to the sheer, well, quantity and quality of the deals that you can see and find on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, just take what you see on those other buy and sell sites and either double or even triple it, and that's exactly what you'll find on Facebook Marketplace. It's like legitimately one of the only reasons I still have a Facebook account anymore. Marketplace was and still is the place where I landed my biggest haul that just happened to kickstart off this entire collection. Before that one haul, I didn't even have enough manga to fill up one of those shelves. I woke up one Saturday morning and just see an ad had just been posted, and someone was selling their entire collection. I'm talking like a couple hundred volumes too. It's like enough to fill up the rest of that weight shelf and a good part of that shelf. For like a little over like $1 a book. Now that I think about it, I kind of wish I took a before and after picture. Now I know this. Some of this might seem a little bit too good to be true, but just if you take a look at some of the manga hauls I've posted on either my Twitter or TikTok, that you'll know the kind of quantity and quality I'm talking about. Links to both in the description below. As for Reddit, there is one community in particular that I recommend checking out, and that is the r/manga swap subreddit. As for what prices are like there and what you can find, is pretty much an anything and everything kind of situation, but for the most part, you're unlikely to find deals similar to what you can like locally in the first two methods, and especially with Facebook Marketplace, because, well, factoring and shipping, of course. However, if you're looking for a particular volume or series, especially something that is out of print or rarer, or just a specific book, I haven't found a better place. Okay, except maybe eBay, but that's for a different video. Well, that took a lot more out of me than I expected. Like, getting all that out felt like a weight lifted off my chest, or a load was taken on my shoulders, so to speak. I sincerely hope you enjoyed the video because, as I said at the start, this isn't something I ever thought I'd be doing, but given the response from people looking for help like this, I'm glad I was actually able to do it. Like, this was a lot more fun than I could have ever imagined. I've already got around a dozen or so ideas for other manga collecting, even a couple of anime videos just rumbling around my head, and just in various different stages of planning and scripting. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in tuning in for, then smash that like and subscribe button. Those videos should hopefully be ready sometime in the near future, so please stay tuned to all my socials, links down below, and including my Discord, Patreon, Twitter, and Twitter is especially where you can find me. Just, yeah. I also usually post regular updates and on my hauls, collections, and all that fun stuff. All right, now I'm gonna probably go to bed really early here in the morning, and took a lot of time to work on this. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. See you next time.